Okay, we'll go ahead and get started. My name is Jamie Staten, and I'm the Family Engagement Specialist here at TRECA. Thank you for joining us. For today's topics, what we are going to be talking about is our PBIS program. What is it? How families can support PBIS at home, and then we'll be talking about the PBIS Reward Store. And Mrs. Burke is here to help walk us through these topics, and I will go ahead and turn it over to her now.
Hi, good afternoon. Thanks for joining us. I am Mrs. Burke. I am the 8th grade English teacher here at TRECA. Have been for 13 years now. Wow. And I am also a member of the PBIS team and have been since day one. So I was in on the planning and the implementation of PBIS, and we're still continuing on, and I am still part of that team. So let's get started with what is PBIS. So PBIS is our positive behavior intervention and support system. It is state required, but it's a good thing to start with, to begin with. I am very much into positive psychology, and I do believe that students need rewarded for doing good. And not all students are A students. I had my two students, my two children. One A+ student all the way through school, other one struggled, but he always tried. So one would get all these awards, and Jonathan would get, oh, good job. Sometimes you get like, oh, most improved. So actually, I was at a school and I said, we need to give some type of award for our students who are always trying, they're well behaved, they're not causing any problems, but they're never going to be on the honor roll. They're never going to be that AB student, but they need recognized. So we started the Star Award, which is basically, it was PBIS. We just didn't call it that. But PBIS is nationwide. It's the new incentive to look at positive behavior for students. And hopefully, with that, we will increase student learning. And that is our focus. So it's a wide range, it's school wide. It is not just in the classroom, it's field trips, it's testing, it's involvement when you're talking with the warehouse. It is everything. Everybody at TRECA is involved in PBIS. So it's our initiative that goes school wide across the board with everyone. So we had debated. We went through, like I said, I was here from day one, and we sent out surveys trying to find out what it was we wanted to call our system. We didn't want to just go, oh, here's PBIS. So that's where we came up with our acronym of the Gator Way, because it carries over with Navi, and you see Navigator everywhere. So the students are used to it. Hey, Gracie. Students are used to it, and it's something that we can automate. Oh, way to go. You're following the Gator Way. So it carries on across the board, and it goes from kindergarten to 12th grade, and everyone's earning their Gator Gold through their behaviors and acknowledgments. So with their Gator Gold, they can go into the treasure store and buy things. So the acronym Gator outlines everything that we do for PBIS, and it breaks it down into, we once again went to the staff and the teachers and said, what are the behaviors we would like to see? What were behaviors that we want all of our students doing and be rewarded for doing it? And we came up with these 5. So it's have goals, actively attend, try your best, be organized, and reach out. we'll go over each one of these and look at our matrix. So once again, sit down, hash this out. It was over a year-long process. So this wasn't something that the PBIS team said, oh, here it is. We threw it together and presented it at a staff meeting and said, this is what we're doing. This was a year-long process of us going through every piece of the matrix and going, okay, how can students show having goals? How can students show that they're actively attending? So this was the matrix that we came up with, and it carries, like I said, it carries not just into the classroom, but when you're testing and when you're on a field trip, when you go to the office for anything. Almost anything that you do is connected with TRECA, is connected with PBIS. So if we click on our matrix, we can see, and we break it down into what you see in the classroom, what you see when you're in live sessions or in Google Meet, and the in-person events. So we have those goals, have goals. With my class, I have them fill out goal sheets. And I do remind them at the first 3 blocks, recheck your goals, recheck your goal sheet. And I hopefully after that, they get into the habit of it. And then they can just send me and say, hey, send me that email that says I updated my goals and receive their PBIS points for that. So set goals. You set your goals, you meet together. You can sit down with your students and go through their goals. I have my students, I said, don't always just do academic goals. You can also set goals personally. I have one student that wants to drink more water. I have someone that wants to exercise more. So there's all the goals that go across the board that aren't just academic, but also personal. So I have mine even them out. I give them 3 per block to do. And I also tell them they can do, a math goal if they want to put it in there. That's fine. So that's something you can sit and discuss with your student. What's your goal for this week? Or what's your goal for this block? What's your goal for this month? So you can break it down. Actively attend. Actively attend is doing things like making sure you're logged in for 5 hours and 10 minutes, 5 hours and 7 minutes of instruction time per day, making sure that you log into all the classes. At least I know some students like to do certain classes on certain days. So I always tell them, if you want to do that, it's kind of easier if you at least do 2 classes one day and 2 classes another day, and then rotate it like that instead of doing all 5 hours in one class, because it gives brain overload and it doesn't work out. Some students like to try it, but it's not always the best. So even if you're doing, you make sure you log in no matter what. Make sure that you log into Brightspace every day. I also tell my students, because they know they have Common Lit to do, or they know that they have Exact Path. And I say, if you're going to log in those programs, make sure you log in through Brightspace first to get attendance. So actively attend is attendance plus your time with attendance. Actively attending is also when you join in for any type of meeting. For my class, or 8th graders specifically, I have Monday meetings for ELA. And then they have math meetings on Tuesdays and science meetings on Thursdays. So right there's a chance to I give 3 points for attending. And I think the other one is due. So right there's 9 points just for attending their meetings every week. They also get actively attend points when they go on field trips. Try your best is exactly what it says. Trying your best. Make sure you submit your work. Make sure you do quality work every time. Don't just do it to have it done. The whole purpose is to be actively engaged and learning, not just doing tasks. So make sure that you're trying your best. I'm sorry, my puppy's going to whine. Make sure that if you're stuck, that you ask your teacher. Or if I have students say, can you reset this? I need to do it again. That's trying your best, because you're not satisfied with your grade and you want to do better. So It's also doing that positive growth mindset. How can I improve this next time? Be organized. That's one that you really need to help your student with, because we're not there to help them make sure they have a place to study. I'm not there to make sure that they have their desk arranged, or where they're not being distracted by a puppy whining. Um, um, I am not there to make sure they have their prepared workspace. I am there. I know when we sign into a Google Meet and I said, write this down, and they say, wait a minute, I've got to go get pencil and paper. That does show me, well, they're not organized. They need to be organized and have that ready when they come into room. This is also your workspace. Make sure um, that your student has a quiet place to work. I know a lot of people like to have, if they have 3 or 4 students, sit them all at the kitchen table. That can get a little hectic sometimes. If that's the absolute only place you have to work, I would suggest getting just cardboard boxes and making like a little cubicle for each one, so they're kind of have their own space and they're not distracted by everything around them. So that helps them to be organized. It helps their brain to be organized. You can also do things like make sure to use your Google Calendar, or make sure that your students using their Google Calendar. Everything needs to be on there, and you can even set your schedule. Being organized is setting your schedule, so they know that at 9 o'clock they need to sit down and do, and I would have specifics. Let's do 9 o'clock ELA. Let's do 10 o'clock math. Let's do 11 o'clock social studies. Let's take our break. Let's come back and do science. And then after that, give a little bit of time to go back and complete any uncompleted assignments. There's always things like exact path, or now we have Power Up, or they have IXL math. There's different programs that they're supposed to be in at least for 20 minutes a day, or at least an hour a week. So also leave a time slot for that to happen every day, and set it on the calendar, because if it's on the calendar, you look and say, oh, this is what I'm supposed to be doing at this time. Your brain likes that organization. Your brain likes to be organized. Also, make sure your emails are organized. Once you read an email, you can do different files. And I would say this, if your student has more than one teacher, put a teacher name and then just slide those emails over to that teacher, and it's always right there. So if it needs to be referenced, it's there. And then every now and then go in and clear it out. So you don't have 200 emails sitting around on your desktop. Do the same thing with your file folders. Have a file folder on your computer for things that you're working on for each class. So you just slides over. Your Google Drive, because we do that all in Google Drive now. It's not just on your desktop. So have those files in your Google Drive, and this is my language arts Google Drive file. This is my math file. So have it all there where it's easily accessible, so you're not looking for something all the time and clicking on a million tabs. Reaching out, once again, it is just what it says. That is reaching out. We are not sitting in a classroom and seeing looks of confusion on students' faces. That was always the key point. I would be teaching and I would get this look from students. I'm like, okay, you didn't get that. Let's try this again. I don't have those checkpoints built in where I can say, turn on and let me see your face to see if you're getting this. So there is no way that we know. And sometimes a student might be sitting on an assignment for 3 or 4 days that we don't catch. And it's because they're stuck on it. And we didn't know if they were stuck on it, if they were out sick, or what was going on. So make sure you have that open path of communication with all the teachers, and email and say, I don't get this. What can I do? What do I need to do? I get a lot of, what do I need to improve my grade? I have a lot of emails that come to me because I specifically say, email me for your grade. Because I have 12 blocks with students all over every block, and my students do Common Lit and Newsella passages every single week. That's a lot of passages. I won't know if they're completed unless you email me and say, hey, I need this grade. So help your student get used to emailing and being specific in emails when they ask for something. Don't just email and say, I'm done with this assignment. Or even, I get a lot of, I'm done with Common Lit. Well, you have Common Lit, 30 of them over the year. Which one are you done with? So teach them how to do those proper emails and check the emails daily. Not just once a day, go in morning, afternoon, and when they sign right before they sign off for the day, and check those emails. Okay, any questions about that? That was a lot, wasn't it? And there's also the videos that are housed in Brightspace that goes over all the different parts or the Gatorway and goes over all those aspects. So how can you support PBIS at home? First of all, have those goals. I said I do the goal sheet. Someone this morning showed me her little goal sheet book that she has her goals. You can do goals every single day on an index card. Write those goals down, check them off as you do them. And you can even send an email to the teacher saying my student, my son or my daughter or my niece or my nephew or my grandchild sets and did their goals this week. And let the teacher know so they can get their points awarded. Break the goals down into something that's manageable. Like I said, sometimes it might be daily. Sometimes it's okay to say this is what you need to do for the week. And then set a timeline. This, like I said, daily, weekly, monthly, or block. This is what you need to do for this block. This is what you need to do for this block. Actively attend. Make sure, this is very important, logged in for 5 hours and 10 minutes a day, actively involved in assignments. Check every now and then to make sure what your student says they're doing is actually what they're doing and they're not on YouTube. We get that a lot. So it's like, oh, but they're on. I see them working. Not always. So make sure they're actually working. You can check their grade book. Just go in and sit down with them and say, okay, let me see your grade book. And go in and check because that'll show you where they're at and where they need to be or what lesson they should be on. So go in with them and check their grade book. That's a good way to make sure they're actively attending and they're actually getting assignments completed. Ask about those assignments. What did you learn? What did you learn today? You can even have write a little summary at the end of the day. What are, 3 things you learned today? What are 2 things that were easy? What's 1 thing that you still have a question about? Do a 3, 2, 1 with them every single day. And that makes them go, oh, this is what I learned. Instead of, what did we learn? Learn math. Well, what did you learn in math? So dig down and be specific. Those Google Meets, get in. Like I said, middle school has meetings 3 times a week. There's a lot of different classes that meet for different times. So just make sure you always know what Google Meets are there for them to attend and make sure they're attending. Make sure you attend testing sessions. You will get your testing session slip in plenty of time. And then also you can actively attend by doing our field trips. And even if you say we can't do field trips because we can't get the time off, it's too far. Mrs. Statton's got it almost seems like at least once a month a virtual field trip. So they can attend those field trips virtually. This month, the Cleveland Aquarium, and it looks amazing. So attend those field trips if you can. If not, make sure you at least do the virtual ones. Try your best. Once again, check that grade book. Check that grade book. And a lot of times I'll get questions from students saying, why can't I move on? And same thing will happen with math. There's a lot of things set that they will not move on unless they score. For me, it's a 60%. You can't move on unless you get above that 60%. So check the grade book and go, okay, we need to go back and work on this. Plagiarism's a big thing. It gets kids kicked out of college when they don't mean to sometimes. And even now you've got more AIs that will write an essay for you, but there's AI checkers that know that that essay was written by someone other than the child. We also pretty well get to know the voice of a student. So if a student's been handing in these essays all year and then all of a sudden has a complete different style. It's usually a trigger that, oh, they didn't write this one. So just teach your student that plagiarism does not benefit anyone. If they get caught, they'll get a 0 on the assignment. And well, if I have someone that plagiarizes an essay, they cannot go back and make it up. It's like, nope, you cheated. It's your 0, you know. And some of those are big chunks because at the end of the block essays are pretty big. So it doesn't benefit them whatsoever if they're just copying it and pasting um, work from somebody else. Because guess what? When they sit down at the end of the year and take a test and they have an essay to write and they've been copying and pasting, they have no idea where to even start to write that on their own by themselves. So just be very aware that it's a pretty serious offense and it's actually tracked. So we want to see students work. We don't want to see a parent's work. We don't want to see someone else's work that went to write an essay, or we don't want to see what Google has to say. Okay, so because we can call that up ourselves. We want to help the child. We want to help your student grow the best we can, and we can't unless they are completing the work themselves. So foster that growth mindset when you sit down. And I had the child that if she got one question wrong, she wanted to know why, what was it, and made sure she didn't do it again. My other one, I got it handed in. This is all. Let's go on to the next thing. So just make sure that you talk about how they can improve their work and what needs to be done. Stay organized. This has a lot to do with that distraction in the workplace. Um, I know some people don't want to put their child in a room by themselves to work because they won't get their work done. So that's understandable, but try to at least make sure they have the least amount of distraction possible. And I know that can be rough sometimes when you're at home. And like I said, I have people that's got 3 or 4 students sitting around the kitchen table. Just make sure they have a designated space that's theirs, and make sure they kind of move around in between. If they want to, because if they're sitting in school, they never sit like 2 and 3 hours. They don't. Younger children usually get up, come to the floor for a mini lesson, go back, work some, come to a reading group or come to a math group. There's always movement going on. Bathroom breaks. There's always something. Older elementary all the way through high school, you get that break in between classes and they switch classes. Do the same thing when they're at home. Have them switch. Have them, if they want to move their chair to someplace else, perfect. If they can at least get up, walk around the table and go get a drink of water, come back, okay, now I'm ready for math. Something that kind of has their brain shut down out of language arts and opens up to math, perfect. Use that Google Calendar. I use mine. I'm lost without it. I have, anytime I go to the doctor, which just reminds me he called to reschedule an appointment, I got to get it on my calendar. I immediately put it on my Google Calendar on my phone and on my laptop. All your teachers will have Google meetings, so make sure it's written on the calendar with whatever date. If you have a special session scheduled, make sure it's there with the link and be there on time. And check your PBIS rewards. You can find that in Clever. And I have part of setting goals. Set your goal for what reward you want. Go through the rewards list and see if there's something that your student wants, or if you're a student, something that you want. Reach out. Once again, I can't see the faces. I can't see your face. If you're lost, you have to let us know. So check that email. I say 3 times a day because you might email, check it in the morning, but the teacher might send out something in the afternoon. Sometimes I will send out like my, hey, it's Monday meeting. Let's remember to get to Monday meetings, and with dates and times. Also, make sure you check at when you sign in, keep it on that home page, because if a teacher's out, it will normally be listed on that home page. So I always say, hey, I am out today, or I'm going to be out this afternoon. I will not answer emails until I am back. Or sometimes I'll say, I will check emails in the afternoon. So, and most teachers will do that. So make sure you check to see. Also, if you're emailing and you get that message that sends back that says, I am out of school this week, or I am out of school today, just know that your teacher probably won't be emailing you back right away. It might be the next day, it might be the next couple of days. Reach out to staff when you need help. We don't know if you're lost or if you just don't want to do your work. Because there's some that's just like, okay, I'm not doing this. Our reward store. Yeah, this is the fun part. We spent a lot of time coming up with rewards. We've had students that suggested rewards. So make sure that if there's something hey, this would look pretty cool in the Trekka store, just let someone know and we'll go, oh, yeah, we'll look into that. I think that's where like the coloring books came from, was a student. So our Trekka Treasure Store, that's where you get to spend all those points you earn. There's Trekka swag, there's t-shirts you can buy. There's a big one is, I don't have my water bottle sitting here, but there's the Trekka water bottles and the speaker bottles. I think the speaker bottles are 400 points. It's one of the high end. So check your tablets, check your rewards, check to see how many points you have, and set your goal on something you want to earn. Then once you get it, you just go in. There's a spot where you click and you click on what you want, and it goes into the warehouse. Know that it will not probably get sent out that day that you spend it. There's certain days that the warehouse specifically goes in to send out PBIS. And I don't know the number that we send out right now, but it gets pretty high. And there's some things that only cost like 5 points, and there's other things that are 400 points. So if you want to earn something small to start with and then add on, that's fine. It's up to you to spend how you want to spend your points. Just also make sure that you look at the description so you know what you're getting, because we cannot do returns. That would be crazy if we had to. The warehouse, it stays busy enough sending out our rewards. If we had to do the return of the rewards, it would get a little insane. Also know there is the app you can use. Just go download PBIS app and it will help you track everything. You can pull up everything right on your phone. So demonstrate positive behaviors in the Gator way. Make sure you have goals. Gracie's here. Gracie, how many times have we gone over these? Almost every time on my Monday meetings, we say, have goals, actively attend, try your best, be organized, reach out. And like I said, let's look at our goals, and they will get their points when they're there as soon as they get their Gator goal. So they'll go and check to see how many Gator goal points they have and how many they need to earn what it was that they have set their sights for. Read the Gator Way question sheet and know how the whole process works. There's also the videos that are I have them in my class specifically, so there should be the Gator Way videos on your homepage, and it has all the videos that explains each and every process of the Gator Way. So respond to the address verification from the help desk. That's very, very, very important. Be sure that it's your physical address. We cannot mail out a reward to an email. I get that all the time because my students get a book in their block 4, and they'll send me your email, and I was like, I have to ship this, and we want to know where it wants to be shipped. Sometimes someone will move and not immediately let us know that that's a different address, so their reward gets mailed to their old address. So make sure you always have your address updated, and make sure you respond when the help desk says, is this your address, to make sure that that's where it's being sent. Or if you know for a fact that Johnny's going to be at Dad's house next week and he wants his PBIS reward sent there, make sure that's the address that you put in for it to be sent to. So then you get your reward and it's yours. I had someone say they're going to do their Christmas shopping with their through the Gator store. So they were getting rewards for their little brother and sister through the Gator store, which I thought was kind of cool. All right. Are there any questions? I know I can talk fast sometimes, so